Do you want to write an engaging book? You want your readers to read it from start to end in one sitting or two sittings? How many of you would like to learn what you should be avoiding? What are the mistakes that are keeping you away from your engaging book, from your compelling book, from your best-selling book? When people read your book in one or two sittings, obviously they would be loving it. That is why they are reading it. When people read, that means your book is an engaging book that is keeping them, that is holding them from moving to other things. That's what you're going to learn in this session today. Hi, I'm Sweta Samota. I'm the founder of India Authors Academy. And today I'm going to share what are the top 10 mistakes that are keeping you away from your success, from your engaging book. Let's get started. So the first mistake, what do you think is, see, of course, one of the biggest mistakes and the most common mistake that aspiring authors make is a lack of planning. Okay, so they get an idea and they just start writing it. Of course, that is not the way to be done. What you need to do before that is to first ensure that that is profitable idea. You do all the analysis, and when it fits in all the different criteria of demand and need, then you actually go ahead and write that book. So that's the most obvious mistake, that is lack of planning. Now, I hope that you've not done that. And if you have, don't forget to watch my free masterclass. Okay, so let's start with the first mistake that you might be making. Is number one is overlooking the emotional resonance. Are you overlooking that emotional connection with your reader? A lot of authors have no idea how to do it and end up writing a book where readers find it difficult to connect with the book. And that is why after reading first few pages, they are not emotionally invested in the book. And that is why they stop reading the book. Are you making that mistake of writing a book that has no emotional resonance with the reader? That's the first mistake. Type in the chat box, type in the comments. You are making that mistake, number one. That's the first mistake. A lot of authors who have no idea how to do it. For example, you write a fiction book, but in the first few pages itself, the reader is not invested in the protagonist. The reader is not invested in your book idea. They're not getting emotionally connected. That's mistake number one, overlooking emotional resonance. You're writing a non-fiction book, and in the first few pages, the reader doesn't understand why they should read your book. In the first few pages, they are not getting connected to your book. That's the first mistake, overlooking the emotional resonance. It's one of the most important things your book should address. If you're able to address this and properly implement in your book, that means your reader is invested emotionally in your book. There's a high chance, 90% probability, they are going to complete your book, even if you have done the other mistakes. The first most important thing is you cannot overlook emotional resonance. The next thing is, second one is neglecting the opening hook. How many of you have written a book with a boring start? Okay, so very important mistake to not do is neglecting the opening hook. Never have the opening, a boring opening. For example, you're writing a fiction, say romance, but the first page itself, the reader finds it boring. There is no interest developed by the reader in your book. It's not engaging. So opening hook is what? Hook is a marketing term like fishing hook. Okay, so you're hooking readers with something. So your book start has to be engaging. There has to be a hook in it. If there is no hook in it, that means you're just giving it like that, then it's not going to engage readers. It's not going to hold readers, catch readers. So the second mistake a lot of authors do, they don't know what is a hook. They don't know how to then create a hook. So there are several ways to creating hooks, but yes, this video is about what are the different mistakes you should be avoiding. So second mistake, you should have a great opening hook, not just to your book, but also every chapter should have an opening hook, and not just every chapter. In the chapter also, several pages, if it is having 10 pages, every few pages there has to be a hook. So an opening hook is to catch readers and then your engaging book should hold readers. So that's your responsibility as an author. So that's the second mistake you might be doing. Are you doing that mistake? Type in the comments if you are. Now, the third mistake is a result of pantsing, okay? Inconsistent voice and point of view. So say, for example, you've written a mystery thriller suspense book, suspense book, and every few pages, the voice is changing. And the reader doesn't understand now whose perspective it is and whose perspective to follow. So that's the third mistake you might be doing as an author, that you have no idea that there is inconsistent voice and your point of views are also changing. So you cannot change your point of views too frequently. You cannot have inconsistent voice that really puts off your reader. So that's the third mistake. Are you doing it? Are you aware of it? That you have to have a consistent voice in your book. Are you aware that point of view cannot have more than 2 or 3 point of views in your book? Now, if it is just a book of 40,000 words, ensure that you have just one point of view. For second point of view, write another book. Okay, so that's third mistake. Are you doing this mistake? Now, the fourth mistake is info dumping. When it comes to a non-fiction book, most 90% first-time authors who have no idea about how to write a book, they just go ahead and write the book. And they feel like, nahi, mujhe bahut research dalna, I have to put a lot of research, a lot of information. They end up writing a dead book. That's the fourth mistake, info dumping. And when it comes to fiction, I know a lot about this place or history, and your book is based on that. You're dumping about it because you've collected a lot of it and you're putting in it. That's the fourth mistake. If you dump a lot of information, reader is going to close the book and go away. It's like you are dumping information just for the sake of it. And as I said, dumping is not good. Okay, so that's the fourth mistake. Are you dumping information in your book? Readers are not going to appreciate it. Do you appreciate if I dump a lot of information without giving you perspective, without giving examples, without giving stories? Will you love it? No, you're going to switch off my video. So that's a fourth mistake, info dumping. You cannot dump info just, for the sake of it in your book. Not required, don't do it. So fifth mistake, overwriting or underwriting. Now, first-time authors, are you a first-time author, by the way? Put it in the comments when you comment. Are you doing this, overwriting or underwriting? What do I mean by it? Like, you start writing with a book and the start is like you are over describing everything in your romance book. Okay, too much zooming in, then it's overwriting. Too much elongating, बहुत आप उसको राई का पहाड़ बना दो. Overwriting. And in case of non-fiction, you're underwriting. If the reader wanted more information, you're not giving it. That's underwriting. So that is just superficial. So that is underwriting. So you could be overwriting or underwriting irrespective of your genre. I'm giving examples so that you understand it. So that's the fifth mistake authors do, and that keeps readers away from their book, is overwriting or underwriting. And you could be doing both of them in your book at different places. So that's the fifth mistake. Are you doing it? Now, the sixth mistake is either there is a lack of conflict or a tension, there's lack of tension in your book, there's lack of stakes, or there is inadequate conflict resolution. Now, what do I mean by it? What do I mean by this particular mistake? Is that when people read your book, they realize, "Arey, isme to bahut chotu sa problem tha. No struggles at all. Problem aaya, solve ho gaya." What is the book about? The book is all about conflict. The book is all about tension. The book is all about what is at stake. The book is all about the struggles, the rising action. Is that missing in your book? Then the juice is missing in your book. Then the fun is missing in your book. Then people are not going to enjoy your book. So the sixth mistake is lack of conflict, tension, or stakes. Or people are not happy with your conflict resolution. That's your inadequate conflict resolution. Doesn't satisfy your reader. So they're left unsatisfied when they close the book. And when you leave your readers unsatisfied, what happens? They feel like they didn't get value from your book. Will they recommend it to others? No, maza nahi aaya. Hota hai na kabhi. You read, so they invest their time, money, energy, emotion, feelings with you on your book. And at the end of the book, they don't feel satisfied. What happens? Maza nahi aaya. Will they recommend? Mat padho. It's okay. So that's the sixth mistake. If you don't want your book to lie there, not being recommended, then that's the mistake to avoid. Lack of conflict, tension, stakes, and yes, irrespective of genre, applies to both fiction as well as non-fiction. Now, the seventh mistake. By the way, are you finding value in this video? If you're finding value in this video, don't forget to comment with your learnings, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Okay. So that's the sixth mistake to avoid. Now, the seventh mistake, neglecting theme and message. A lot of times you get a beautiful idea and you just start writing, which is called pantsing, which you're not supposed to do. You should be planning everything and then going ahead. Now, the seventh mistake happens because of lack of planning. The seventh mistake happens because lack of clarity. The seventh mistake happens when you're not prepared for your book. You just write for the sake of it and for the fun of it, and you still publish it. Okay, so not all books are to be published. Some books are written for your own satisfaction. So the seventh mistake is neglecting theme and message. So you write the book, but there is no particular theme to your book. You write the book, but there is no message at the end of the book. Then the reader is kept wondering, what is the book all about? What did I get from the book? Okay. So the seventh mistake, neglecting theme and message, and throughout the book, the reader is just figuring out what is the book all about. So neglecting theme and message, if you do this, you will suffer in marketing as well, because you don't know how do you market it. There is no theme or message to it. You will have the problem in finding your message when you're talking about the book. So seventh mistake, lot of authors do, then who suffer in marketing, is neglecting theme and message. Are you doing that? Are you doing that? Now, the eighth mistake is poor dialogue and descriptions. Now, while the other mistakes, it may not be about your writing skills, but this mistake is about your writing skills. So writing dialogues which are too formal, or you're writing formal dialogue that sounds too casual. So unrealistic dialogue, that's called poor dialogue. That people are like, okay, pathetic dialogue writing skills. So for you to write your book in a transparent way that the reader doesn't realize that you are a first-time author, that the reader doesn't realize, oh, it's a book. They are transported into that scene. If you want to do that, then you have to write consistent, realistic dialogue. So poor dialogue and descriptions, poor descriptions. So it's like you're describing too much, or you're not able to describe. It's like you're just saying things like it was scary. That is saying, but I have to show when it is scary. Okay? Or it was too sad. That's telling. But what it was, what was sad about it? When you actually describe it, then people get transported there. So poor dialogue and descriptions is the eighth mistake, that if you do that, then you're not giving a great experience to your reader. You're not transporting them. Then you're actually telling them and not showing them. So that's the eighth mistake a lot of authors do, because they have no idea about how do they develop their writing skills. So that's the eighth mistake. And yes, it applies to both fiction and non-fiction. Okay. And the ninth mistake, inadequate editing. And that is why your book doesn't shine. So if you have a book, you've written a book and you're not editing it well, it's like you have a painting which is not polished, which the final touches are missing, then that's inadequate editing. Or you did it, but you didn't do your best job. So you didn't shine it off, you didn't rub it off. So your book is not going to shine like a diamond. Now, a diamond also shines when it is polished well, it is, properly cut. So if you're not doing it, even if you have a great book, it's not going to shine in the hands of the readers because of this mistake, that is inadequate editing. Are you doing that? And the 10th mistake, don't do it. I would say don't do any of these mistakes. There are many such mistakes that you can avoid. I'm just covering 10 of them here. Okay. So the 10th mistake is rushing the ending. While you rush at the start as well, you're rushing at the end as well, you're rushing in between as well. These are all the mistakes you should not be doing. Rushing the ending. You don't, so people read it and then you rush at the end, they're not satisfied reading your book. Rushing the ending, you talk about a thriller and you ended it too early. Readers are not satisfied. Or you're writing a non-fiction, but you're not giving that thing that reader wants. So that leaves people hanging for more. Now, you would be like, Sweta, I'm writing a second book as well with it. So shouldn't I rush in? No. Even if you're writing a second book, open a loop at the end, but don't rush the end. So that the 10th mistake is rushing the ending, which also comes because of lack of planning. So the first mistake is lack of planning, not understanding the intricacies of writing a book, not understanding the process, the system, the different writing skills, different genres, and not understanding your audience. Different things then can come out of your lack of planning. Okay, so these are the 10 mistakes. If you enjoyed watching this video, if you learned something from this video, type in the comments and I'll be happy to read your comments. And if you want me to cover something more, type in the comments what you want me to cover. Okay. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you have not attended my best-selling author masterclass, go ahead, click on the link and join my India Authors Academy. Thank you for watching this video. God bless you. Bye-bye.